Welcome to the Knowing God podcast. For kids. For kids. For kids. Welcome to the Knowing God podcast. For kids, yay!
Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of the Knowing God podcast for kids. My name is Bob, and today who have I got with me?
Aiden.
I've got Aiden with me today. Aiden, sometimes we take walks around our neighborhood, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, what would happen if instead of looking in front of you to watch where you were walking, what if you looked over to the side or back behind you the whole time you were walking? What would happen?
I would fall.
Yeah, you would fall, wouldn't you? It would be pretty hard to get where you were going without tripping or falling. So today we are going to talk about something that I personally struggle with, and I think many other people have problems with it too, and that's distractions. What exactly is a distraction, Aiden? What do you think a distraction is?
Like an example is if a construction worker is building a building and he sees free ice cream and he's sweating and he just goes over and gets the ice cream.
Instead of doing his job, okay. Yeah, that is a distraction, isn't it? In the dictionary, it says, a thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. That's what a distraction is. What are some examples of a distraction? Can you think of examples for yourself that are a distraction? Well, how about a distraction can be people or money, hobbies, which is the fun stuff that we do. Video games can be a distraction. Cell phones, that's a big distraction for me, and TV, and the list goes on. A distraction is anything that takes your attention away from the things that you're supposed to be paying attention to.
So we can still do fun stuff, but we still have to focus on God.
That's right, bud. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that these things are always bad. But if they keep us away from what we are supposed to be doing, then that is bad. What are some things that distractions keep us from doing? If you got distracted, Aiden, if you were doing something you weren't supposed to do during the day, say it's Monday, right away in the morning, school started, and something comes on TV that you really want to watch. Is that what you're supposed to be doing Monday morning?
No.
What are you supposed to be doing Monday morning?
Schoolwork.
So that would be a distraction, wouldn't it? So we can get distracted from doing our homework, our chores. The adults could be distracted from doing their work, things like that. But the most important thing of all, the number one thing that distraction keeps us away from is spending time with God. We were made to have a relationship with God. Genesis 1:26 says, we were made in God's image and in His likeness. He made us to be like Him. He loves us so much that He sent His Son to die for us. That is how important our relationship is to God. So we need to be sure to focus on Him and put away distractions, or the things that keep us from Him. Now, Hebrews 12:2 says, let us keep looking to Jesus. And Proverbs 4:25 says, let your eyes look straight ahead. These two verses show where our focus should be. Now, Aiden, do you remember in Matthew 14 when Jesus is walking on the water? Jesus says to Peter, come. And what does Peter do?
He comes out of the boat and he's not focusing on Jesus.
Yeah.
He's looking at the waves and the storm around him.
Okay. So Peter gets out of the boat and he's walking on the water just like Jesus. But then, like you just said, he starts looking at other things and he starts to sink, doesn't he?
Yep.
Peter takes his eyes off Jesus. He starts to sink. And what Peter was doing, he was paying more attention to the wind and to the waves that were around him, and he took his eyes off of Jesus. So the wind and the waves in this story with Peter is like us being distracted today. Those were his distractions. Peter was distracted. So what does Peter's story have to do with us today? We can't get distracted like Peter did. 1 Peter 5:8 says, be watchful and control yourselves. Your enemy, the devil, is like a roaring lion. He prowls around looking for someone to swallow up. Our enemy does everything he can to keep us distracted. Because Satan knows if we are distracted, then we will have a hard time having a relationship with God. And he knows we will have a hard time hearing from God and receiving his blessing. Satan does what he can to keep us from God, and distractions are an easy way for him to do that. But we don't have to worry. The Bible tells us exactly what we have to do. In Joshua 1:8, it tells us where we need to keep our attention. It says, never stop reading this book of the law. And that's the Bible, right, Aiden?
Yep.
Day and night, you must think about what it says. Make sure you do everything written in it. Then things will go well with you, and you will have great success. You have to take time each day to pray and to read the Bible. If we read the Bible and do what it says, it's like we are keeping our eyes straight ahead of us when we are walking so we don't trip and fall. And it will keep us from sinking in the water like Peter did. The Bible will help you keep your attention on the right things and not get distracted. And reading the Bible will not only help us to not get distracted, but God promises that if we read it and do what it says, we're going to have great success. Okay, Aiden, just like when we're taking a walk in our neighborhood, our walk through life needs to be the same. We need to keep our focus straight ahead so we don't stumble. So we stay away from those distractions, and so that the things that we do and the things that we think about match what the Bible says. And we have to avoid distractions. Thank you for joining our podcast today. You can go to hideandseekministries.com/podcast to get a free printable worksheet to review what we've talked about today. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or Google Play Music. You can also find us on Stitcher and TuneIn. We hope you join us next time on the Knowing God podcast for kids.
Bye.
Bye. Well, how do you think that went, Aiden?
It went well.
Do you think it went well?
Yeah, but you gotta stop it.
I need to stop recording.
Because you'll have to cut all this out.
Yeah, I know.
That free ice cream part was funny.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? You really had me laughing pretty hard.
Yeah, I didn't know you'd laugh that hard. I didn't try to make you laugh. I was just trying to give an example. It's what my imagination was.
Yeah, that's what came out of your brain, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right, I love you, buddy. Thank you for helping me.
You're welcome.